Hello, and welcome once again to Circulus, a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign run by myself, Aaron, also known as Crash. I am the DM, and with me, as usual, is a merry band of adventurers. They are not merry men. One's a Dragonborn, one's a half-elf, and one's a gnome. So, I guess you can work that out. In any case, moving on, with us today is Logan. Logan, who will you be playing?
I am Fenix, and I'm a Dragonborn Paladin, the last name.
And we also have Tom. Tom, who are you playing?
Play Panqarim, the Gnome Barbarian.
And last but not least, we also have Chris. Chris, who are you playing?
I am playing Vex'Sarin, the half-elf ranger.
Also, another bit of errata. The good folks at Dungeons & Dragons are participating in an Extra Life gaming marathon that'll be happening on November 4th. I'm going to put a link to information about that in the show notes. It's for a worthy cause, so if you can donate, click on that link and give what you can. I'm very disappointed that at the time we're recording, Christopher Perkins, only has $840 raised so far, and his goal is 1,000, so it should be better than that, I think. But moving right into the game, in our last episode, the party had reached the ruins of Gore's Gate, which had apparently been burned down during the winter. They have a pretty good idea of when, because ashes were raining down upon a significant portion of Coomridge at that time. They did encounter some gnolls, beings that had not been seen on the planet of Circulus before, and one troll, which was also something new. Fortunately, our friends from Faerun, and I like the alliteration there, were able to warn the rest of the party that trolls don't like fire, and a good time was had by all, including Ponk, who managed to ride a decapitated troll to the ground after he crushed its skull in with a very large wrench.
For a little person who's very aggressive.
He might have some anger management issues to work out, but I think he's managing them well.
I thought he was being well behaved for the most part.
Oh yeah. I particularly liked how he kept hitting the troll long after it was dead.
Yep,
Wow.
Turned it into mush.
Oh, if I learned anything from Zombieland, you gotta do the double tap.
Yep.
Okay, so I have shared a map with the rest of you in Discord if you scroll up a bit. Each hex represents roughly a day's travel.
Okay.
And for the most part, your trip down the road after you encounter the gnolls is fairly uneventful. You keep a watchful eye out because you tend to get hit by random encounters from the DM frequently when you're traveling.
Yep.
But you don't tend to see a whole lot of stuff going on. One thing that is noticeable is now the road you're traveling on in this particular area is going east and west, and this is referred to by Circulians as the Long Road. It is a road that was created during the heyday of the Circulian Empire, and it was meant to circumnavigate as much of the continent as possible. So if you stayed on this road, you'd be able to go all the way around up to where the land basically just stops and there's that island continent in the top northwest corner. You're not planning on going that far, however, because your main destinations are just a few days' travel from here. Everything north of the road is mostly a very dense woodland. You have no trouble hunting game if you choose to do so. You do have enough rations with you for the journey, so you don't really feel compelled to, except for Justice, Fenix's hawk. I think it's a hawk, right?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting if it's a hawk.
I'm pretty
or
sure
eagle.
I'm pretty sure it's an eagle.
Okay, eagle. I'm using the hawk stats. That's why I kept forgetting. It's a bird of prey. Justice likes going off into the woods and coming back with various small animals as prizes to you. Sometimes it brings back two, one for you, one for it. There is one occasion where it becomes kind of obvious that Shepherd, our loyal wolf mascot, feels a little left out. So Justice takes a hare that it captured and sort of like flies high up in the air, swoops down in a nosedive, levels out the last minute and lets go, and the hare goes flying through the air. And basically Justice plays fetch with Shepherd with a dead rabbit.
Yes.
I'm okay with this.
That's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's also the most screwed up thing ever with that poor little rabbit, but it's also kind of cute.
Just throwing the dead rabbit around.
Well, what happens is Shepherd doesn't bring it back to Justice. Shepherd goes, grabs the rabbit, and then brings it to Vex with a look on his face that pretty much says, "Look what I got for you. Look what I found."
Oh, honey.
To the south of the road, however, it's a bit different. It is, well, all this terrain is very hilly and very rocky, but there are very few large trees to the south. There's some areas that look like new growth forest. There's some areas that are basically just really old stumps. Fenix, I would like you to roll a history check. Yes.
Is this better?
You'll probably have to do more talking for me to know for sure. Did you say 19?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Maybe I just don't have the volume on my headset turned up high enough for me to hear you over that, but never mind about that. So a 19 is fantastic. So in your history classes, the ones you didn't sleep through, as a very young Dragonborn, you remember some history of this area. Way back when, at the time of the Empire, they decided that this would be a good area for farming. So they first came in and harvested almost all the trees to the south of the Long Road in this particular area. To the north of it, they were like, well, that's too close to the mountains. We're not going to worry about that. The people who were in charge of this, however, never actually sent anyone to inspect the land first. They were just looking at a map that said forest here. So they didn't realize that this area was totally unsuitable for farming. There's way too many rocks. There's a lot of hills that are just bare stone in some places. There's a lot of caves all throughout this area. So after they cut down all the trees, they're like, okay, time to plant where? They did try to make up for this by doing some cattle ranching and some sheep herding in this area, but it just wasn't the same. It wasn't as profitable. They also tried to use orcs for the farming, and that didn't end well. But that has changed the environment in this area. It's been over 1,000 years since then, and you still have lush forest to the north of you, which is theoretically claimed by an elven nation to the west. Sorry, to the east, that call themselves the Sill. And the area to the south is, for the most part, supposed to be in the domain of the town that is on your to-do list of Watson. Sometimes called Watson Second, because it's the second town that was built in that same location. But the town has had a very steep population decline since the orcs all left. So people don't come out this way. On day 3 or so, you're getting really close to the inn that's on the map. You do notice that the trees have some very odd-looking branches. Branches that look like those gnolls that you fought. The gnolls appear to have been nailed to the trees.
I laugh at them.
Give me a perception check. All three of you.
14.
14 is good enough. I was looking for a 10. So you notice that some of the gnolls were nailed to the trees at post-mortem.
I also rolled a 14.
That's fantastic. So some of the gnolls were nailed to the trees post-mortem after they died, but the majority of them, and there's at least 20 in this particular neck of the woods. There might be more. You'd have to go into the woods off the road to see for sure. Were nailed to the trees while they were still breathing, because there's obvious signs that they were sort of flailing a bit afterwards. Now, Vex, what was your roll?
I got a 19.
Okay, so you're able to notice that they were nailed specifically with weapons that look to be of orc manufacture. And all of the gnolls had that same symbol you saw in the previous gnolls, branded to their foreheads.
You already answered the question I was going to ask.
I'm sorry, I'm getting very exposition heavy. But that time will soon come to an end. So eventually you come up to what is referred to as the Blast Radius Inn on your map, and it becomes fairly obvious as to why it has that name, because before you can see the inn proper, you do see a sort of structure. Structure is a very safe word to use for the description here. You don't really want to call it a building, but it does look like something you could walk inside. It has various substructures that branch off from it, and they're all interconnected with various pipes. There's steam coming out of some of them. There's some pipes that you're fairly certain just run in a loop and don't connect to anything. And you feel a little nervous being within sight of this thing, as opposed to being up close to it, but the road leads you right past it. So I'm assuming that you're going to continue on your merry way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
as well.
Fiddle Punch, by the way, has been with you this entire time.
Mhm.
He did not opt for an actual biological horse or pony to ride. He is riding on what appears to be a mechanical stag beetle, which is the size of a small pony. And
Sounds weird.
he powers it with liquid out of... he has a flask that he pours liquid down its mouth every now and then, and that keeps it running.
Okay.
Okay, so as you get closer to this building, you see two smaller beings. One appears to be a gnome, the other is a halfling. They are sitting on what appears to be like patio furniture, with a small table between them. There is an umbrella sticking up through it. And they are taking turns drinking and refilling their drinks out of a large ceramic jug as large as their heads. The gnome is... it's a girl gnome, and she is completely covered in soot, except where she has tried to wipe it off of various places, like around her mouth, and that smudges it more than it wipes it off, but it's slightly cleaner, sort of. The halfling is half covered in soot. It's the left half of his body is covered in soot. The right half seems to be okay. And they're just casually like taking turns filling up each other's cups and drinking. And they see you coming and they kind of wave.
As we walk up to them, I say, "What mess have you two gotten yourselves into?"
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Not great. 12.
The other two of you may also roll a perception check, because there's an auditory thing that you might be able to hear.
10.
Does this have to do with humanoids?
Oh, excuse me.
Kind of does.
It was 13. Sorry.
Oh, that's better. That's better. Gotta sneak that advantage when you can.
We all
22.
And Fenix, what was yours?
17.
Okay, so Fenix and Vex both hear among the various like high-pitched whistles and machinery that seem to be inside this whatever it is. There is a rhythmic thumping coming from one of the further out structures. And maybe the sound of someone yelling, but you're not entirely sure. And the halfling, to answer the question that you asked, Vex, says, "Oh, we're just celebrating a job well done."
Care to share what that job was?
The gnome says, "Oh, we're just taking out the trash."
What kind of trash?
By the way, you no longer need a perception check to hear the pounding or the sound of someone screaming, though you can't make out the voice. And the gnome answers your question by saying, "An ex-boyfriend."
Oh, right.
Well, as of this morning, ex-boyfriend.
Who was the crazy one? You or him?
The halfling looks like he's about to say something, and then he wisely bites his tongue.
I think that answered my question.
Fiddle Punch comes up alongside you and says, "Now, I am aware that you are not from around here, so just to fill you in, gnomes don't tend to keep company with other gnomes very often. When they do, they often share information with their various modes of research, but every now and then one of them decides to
kill each other."
And the female gnome cuts in and says, "Oh, just take someone else's research, maybe their family business, and try to take those secrets off and make their own business somewhere else." Yeah, something like that. At this point, there is a fairly loud explosion. You all feel a rush of warm air wash over you. There is a very strong odor of alcohol. And part of this structure from which you were hearing the screaming sort of just lifts off into the air and arcs towards the mountains to the north. At this point, the gnome and the halfling sort of just reach out without looking and tink their glasses together and finish off their drinks.
Ponk, this is why I like you. You just hit things. I don't have to worry about this stuff with you.
Exactly. No drama.
Oh, I think the drama is fairly well over.
I feel like we should go check and see if he's still alive, but I kinda don't want to.
Oh, it's okay. All of the structures for my distillery come equipped with built-in atmospheric release parachutes. He'll be fine. Just a little singed. Might be badly burned, but he'll still be alive.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
In the distance, you hear a thump. That was the parachute.
Okay, he's cool. Let's go.
Oh, but where are my manners? My name is Tillery Gear Grinder, proprietor of the Gear Grinder Distillery. Pleased to meet you. She reaches out to shake your hand and realizes that her hand is still covered in soot, so she takes out a handkerchief, tries to wipe it off, puts more soot on the hand, and just sort of frowns and waves.
I wave back and introduce the party.
Okay. And the halfling introduces himself as cesium nitrate.
Wow.
But you can call him Cess. So what brings you here?
I need to check my notes. We're going to the dwarven outpost to the north. That's right, isn't it?
You mean Husan first?
Sure. Yes, Husan. That's right.
Well, they recently opened their doors for spring. I've been out and about for about 2 weeks collecting herbs, but normally my base of operations is there.
Wonderful. So they're open.
Yep, and so far as dwarves go, they're quite accommodating. It's a fairly new settlement. It's only been around for about 15 years.
Fairly new for dwarves.
It's like they opened it up yesterday.
To them, yeah.
They only joined up with the dwarven tunnels about last year.
You say you have a trading post there?
It's where I sell most of my alchemical stuff that I make. I've got a pretty good business going, making blasting powders, acids that'll leach out toxic chemicals and ores, stuff like that. So, Punk, you recognize this name because this is apparently the halfling that you were asked to deliver a box to by old Bob.
Oh, okay. I will go get the box and give it to him.
Okay, so he raises an eyebrow at you as you just walk over and start to hand him a box. And he looks at it and goes, "Oh." And he sort of pulls something out of you don't know where and fiddles with the lock a little bit. It pops open. He's holding it so that you can't see inside. And he looks inside and goes, "Oh." Closes the box up. Looks over at Tillery and says, "Well, Tillery, it's been fun. Thanks for the booze, but I unfortunately have to get going. See you around." He picks up a very large haversack that seems to be filled to capacity with various herbs. You're not quite sure if he'd be able to fit anything else in it. Some of them are sort of falling out as he picks it up. Waves to everyone and starts walking back the way you came towards Gore's Gate.
I just say to them, be mindful. There are gnolls patrolling those roads.
Who what now?
Big, hairy creatures. They'll eat you. Be careful.
No, the orcs around here are okay.
No, not the orcs. There are other ones.
The things that are nailed to the trees.
Yeah.
You'll see them.
They speak for the trees, man.
You'll see them as you go down. Just have a look at the things nailed to the trees. They were done by the orcs by the looks of it. And as you go further down, just keep an eye out, because the nailing doesn't go that far down.
So, you know exactly what kind of look you gave Tillery.
Yeah.
Because he just gave it to you.
Yep.
But he thanks you for the information. Snaps his finger and goes, "Oh, I almost forgot." And he walks over, and because Ponk is the one who handed him the box, he hands the box back to Ponk, says, "Don't open it around others," and walks off.
Okay. Take the box, put it back on the wagon.
You have a wagon?
We have a wagon?
Yeah, what is...
We have horses.
I thought we had a wagon as well.
No, we just have horses. The
Nice.
wagon would have slowed us down even with my favorite terrain.
It'd be broken in half a long time ago.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Even
I thought we
with
had a
my
wagon
match-
as well.
Even
So,
with Natural Explorer, the wagon would have slowed us down a lot.
Okay. then I
Yes,
just...
you did have the option of getting a wagon, but it was opted out.
Okay. I'll put the
Apparently
box in.
The security deposit, after they looked at Fenix, was
Yeah.
way too high. Like, isn't this the guy who came by our shop yesterday and just broke our entire inventory?
No,
You know, he
they're
likes,
on to me.
he
There was
likes
some other
breaking the
Dragonborn.
wagon. Okay? Let him break his wagons.
They were profiling him.
Racial stereotyping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just hold on to the box then.
Is it,
Okay.
is it because I'm a Dragonborn?
That's why. We'll back you, buddy.
Justice,
Okay.
rip his eyes out.
Well, in any case, it is getting close to nightfall at this point. However, right across from the road is the Blast Radius Inn, which is a fairly large structure. It looks like it is larger than the inn you were at, the Blue Bucket Inn in Coomridge. This seems to be a larger structure. It primarily because it has a very large stable attached to the main structure. This inn apparently primarily is set up to service like merchant caravans and stuff like that, so they can store their wagons in underneath the covered area. Do you wish to go in, or do you want to continue through the night and camp elsewhere?
What time is it?
It is getting close to dark. The sun is dipping down below the horizon.
We ought to use the inn if we're concerned there might be orcs around.
Might as well use the inn.
Okay. You go in, and as your eyes adjust to the dimmer light, you see that there is an elf that is wearing a dress and sort of has her feet propped up on a chair while she's sitting on another chair. Just sort of leaning back with her hands behind her head, but she sort of straightens up when she sees you come in. She has short blonde hair, and behind the bar, doing the typical cleaning a glass with a rag, because that's what bartenders always do when they're behind the bar. But this particular bartender happens to be an orc with thinning white, close-cropped hair on top of their head, but they have a very long beard and mustache, goatee and mustache, rather. If it wasn't an orc, you would think they'd be out of some martial arts movie. But he is wearing a very nice clothing. He seems to be covered in scars, but otherwise, he doesn't look like he's dressed for battle.
So basically Danny Trejo?
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
In any case, the elf asks you what they can do for you.
I respond with, we're looking for rooms for the night. You are okay with animals, right?
Don't talk about Fenix that way.
I'm talking about Fenix that way. I was talking about the bird and the dog.
As long as you clean up after them, we're fine with it.
Oh, he's housebroken, huh?
That'll be 1 gold per sentient creature and 5 copper per animal.
Really tempted to try and persuade her down on the copper and just let them be.
Please don't.
I'm not gonna.
You could attempt it if you wanted to.
I'm not gonna, because it's a dumb idea and I'm an idiot. So that's fine. I'll cover the costs, and I give her the, what was it, 3 gold, 1 gold per room for
Well,
sentient?
it'll be 5 because while their players are not here,
Oh yeah.
technically speaking, Ari and Obaim are also in the party.
I skip in front of Vex'Sarin. I'm like, here you go.
Oh, you're paying?
I'll let him pay if he wants to.
I'll pay.
Okay.
25 gold.
It's not 25. It's just 5. It's 5 gold plus 1
I
silver
have
for the 2 pets.
I have 25 gold right now.
But it's not 25 gold.
Yeah, don't
I
go over
know.
25
Don't give her
gold.
25 gold.
I said I have now 25 gold. I said
Okay.
now I have.
Okay.
You
Right,
were
well,
saying
it's-
your aftermath total.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Okay.
5 gold for the rooms plus another silver for the animals.
Okay. That covers meals as well. They have a rabbit stew that's been cooking for pretty much all day. It's edible. And they do have a wide variety of alcoholic beverages, most of which all have the Gear Grinder label on them.
I'll try it. I'll try one of the local ales.
Okay. It is not an ale. It's also not a scotch or a whiskey. It is an alcoholic beverage unto itself.
It's just pure.
Tequila?
To call it moonshine would be a disservice to it. It is a very
Moonshine
high quality and potency. And the label says it offers an experience. The word experience is in quotes. The fine print also says that it can be used to strip paint, sterilize wounds, and remove stumps.
I think I'll have a water, please.
There is also an asterisk with a warning saying to not drink near open flames.
Then you know what? I'll pass.
I think I'll have a water.
It's hard to deny.
You are literally walking, talking fire.
I'll have.
Bad.
Well, I'm not gonna have anything because if I have water, it's just gonna.
Well, if to be fair, unless he chooses to use his breath weapon while drinking this, he'd probably be okay. However, if he does use his breath weapon while drinking this, his head will probably explode.
I'm gonna take it.
Oh god.
I'm not gonna use my breath weapon. I'm not gonna use it. I'm just gonna take this.
Take it, and maybe it'll come in handy later.
Yeah.
Okay, so Obaim takes it from you. Says something about leaving it to a dwarven constitution to see what it's like first. Upends the bottle, puts it back down. It's about half full now. He sort of like looks pensively while he's moving his tongue around in his mouth, like sort of savoring the aftertaste. And then he falls over backwards like a felled tree.
I'll take the bottle right when he falls.
Yeah.
Well, he's downed it, so it's empty.
No, he took it like half of it.
He failed his constitution save.
Did he crash? Did he down the whole bottle, or did he?
Half of it.
Half of it.
By the way, the bottle was 5 gold.
I kind of just walk up and just kind of... Is he at least breathing?
Yes, he's
good.
breathing.
Okay, he's breathing.
He's starting to snore. Grog just sort of shakes his head. You don't drink the whole bottle.
He only drank half of it. That's the worst part.
Good. Then we'll live.
I'll carry this one up to bed and get him in the bed.
I'll be like, can I buy more of that?
I put my foot down. No.
This is a good weapon. This can be a good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could come in handy as the Molotov cocktail.
Just
a
force
5 gold per bottle Molotov cocktail.
Well, as long as he's paying for it, I'm fine with it.
If he wants to dump all of his gold on it, have at it, Hoss.
Be my guest.
I carry Obaim up to one of the rooms and let him sleep it off.
I'll buy one.
Tara helps you carry Obaim up to the room and sort of just says quietly to you, "You're supposed to water it down."
Is this the elf?
Yes.
I respond in Elvish. I figured as much. He's a dwarf. He thinks he can handle anything, but it's fine.
I understand. We get 2 or 3 of these per month.
Wait, so it's $5? I mean, 5 gold.
The bottle was 5 gold.
Okay, I'm at 20.
But you now have half a bottle of Gear Grinder Special.
Okay, I can make someone else pass out.
You have the feeling that if you tried giving this to someone without Dwarven Constitution, it might kill them if you gave them half a bottle.
Okay. Torturing is a good...
You're the paladin, remember?
It's a good way to have an alignment change. That's what it is.
No. I'll just give it to Punk.
I don't want it.
Because Obaim is in such a I want a vulnerable state with the fact of passing out. I'll get Shepard to stay in his room and watch over him. Make sure he's okay.
Okay, so you have Shepard come into his room, you tell him stay, he sits down, stares right at you, and as you're closing the door, he's still staring right at you with his tail sort of like doing a half wag. Like, you're gonna say follow, right? You're gonna say that soon?
Okay, I cast Speak with Animals on him. Honey, I need you to watch over Obaim. He's very drunk and needs to be protected. You're the best little man to do this, okay?
Okay.
Can I tell? Can I make my my bird like go on my shoulder?
My assumption is that when you came into the inn, Justice was already sitting on your shoulder.
All right.
He likes hanging out there when you travel.
Nice.
This inn does not, however, have any kind of stand for Justice to sit on. So he makes do with a chair that is in your room. And seems to be okay with it. Tara gives you a towel to put underneath because birds are not known for being potty trained. Even the trained ones.
Yep.
Okay, does anyone else want to do something special?
I'll go with my normal ritual before I go to bed, put my dagger under my pillow.
Okay. Pointy side sideways, I'm sure.
I'll look out the window, make sure there's no floating eyeball.
Best way to grab that thing and stab someone.
Okay. Fenix, give me a perception check.
Yay! Roll the 1.
Okay, so you barely notice where your bed is, but you somehow manage to get into it for the night. Ponk, give me a perception check. Because you're looking out the window for eyeballs.
4.
You know where the bed is.
Okay.
You had trouble finding the window.
He's only seen the reflection of the bed. I mean, the reflection from the window.
And you know what? Heck with it. Vex, give me a perception check.
$12.
That's good enough. Your room has a window facing to the south, and you do see some moving lights off in the distance. Your best guess is that they are torches being held aloft by some ones or some things, obviously more than one of them, a fairly large group, moving very quickly through the night.
To the south.
They're to the south. They are... This particular group that you can see seems to be moving to the east. They are not moving north or south. And you see them, you can track them for maybe about 2 or 3 minutes before the lights wink out. Your assumption is because they went behind a hill, so they were no longer in line of sight.
Okay.
Alright, so you all have a nice long rest. You wake up the next day. Obaim is not feeling it. He's not used to having a hangover. It's not something that dwarves get. But he's definitely got one now. And because your mission to Husan is pretty much just to deliver a letter and leave, Ari suggests staying at the inn with Obaim to watch over him, because you as a party don't tend to trust strangers in any case. While the three of you go to the letter and come back. And Fiddle Punch also offers to stay simply because his main interest is going to Watson, and he has really no interest in Husan whatsoever.
Okay. As I walk past Obaim's room, knowing that he's probably going to be really hungover, I just bang on the door like 6 or 7 times and walk away.
You hear some phrases that you do not expect to hear from a dwarven cleric.
I expect to hear from a hungover dwarf, though. That stuff's universal.
You also hear a whining sound.
Oh, Shepherd! I open the door. Come on, buddy.
He tackle hugs you. The moment you open the door, he's in your face.
Is it
take
good boy?
1d6 slobber damage.
I love taking slobber damage.
There's like you're wearing leather armor and it's discolored all around your neck and shoulders from repeated saturation.
Okay with this.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're going to head north to Husan first. I assumed that, and I apologize for that.
That was the plan, I think.
I thought it was the plan, but anytime that I make an assumption and the assumption is wrong, please correct me.
I forgot what we were doing in the other town. I didn't write it in my notes.
As I remember it, the plan was to go deliver the letter to Husan and then take the journey south to Whatson with Fiddle Punch for him to investigate, because Whatson is supposedly not there anymore. But neither Tara, who is the barmaid for this inn, or Grog Two Ears, who is he's actually the inn's owner, didn't act like there was anything out of the ordinary. So if there is something wrong in Whatson, no one passing through has told them yet.
Okay.
Or they're keeping it to themselves. Either way, you don't know. So you head north, and it's about a day's journey. So you're leaving early in the morning. You expect to get there a little bit before sunset. You might. It's not going to be like the same time you arrived at the inn. You'll have maybe 3 hours before sunset when you get there. About halfway, you do notice what appears to be a type of carriage or cart. It's covered. It wasn't built to be an open cart like what a merchant or a farmer would use. It's designed to have passengers in it. But it is off the road, and it is covered in rubble.
Not again.
Because rocks fall and everyone dies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this seems to be the case because you're fairly certain you can see signs of bodies inside the cart from here.
Sucks to be them.
Can I stealth up to the cart?
You most certainly can try.
Uh, 14.
Okay, so you're fairly sure that no one would hear you unless they were right on top of you anyway. You do step on a few errant twigs and stuff, but you don't think it's that bad.
Okay.
The cart, the interior of it is actually, it looks very posh. It's lined with velvet. There's cushioned seats on either side of the front and the back of it on the interior, so it's kind of nice. Outside of the cart, there is what appears to be a wood elf and a very elderly halfling, both female, both very dead. Inside, there's a copper dragonborn and what appears to be a drow wearing dark clothing with a cape. Also both very dead.
That's the only kind of good drow.
Yeah, would I know from my time on Circulus if it was common to see a drow out in the open like this?
You've seen 2 drow in your entire time on Circulus. One of them was eaten by an ancient green dragon. That in your conversations with townsfolk afterwards, they'd never seen the drow before. And this is the second drow.
Okay.
They did appear to be relatively well equipped before the rocks fell, but their equipment is pretty much useless now. The wood elf in particular had a scimitar that looked nicer than yours, much nicer than yours, but it is bent at a 90-degree angle by a fairly large rock that hit. Well, it hit the wood elf, but it went through her and hit the sword.
Jeez.
These rocks came down at a very high velocity.
Is there a way to get in the thing?
Oh, it's very easy to get in the cart, because it's been smashed by rocks.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, there's enough of it that you had to come up to it and look in, but there isn't much more than that.
Can I maybe try and figure out where the rocks came from?
They don't appear to have skid marks from hitting the ground, so it looks like they came from straight above.
Straight up, is there anything above us?
Blue sky. Actually, no, it's not blue sky. It is raining. It's been raining all morning.
So it's possible these were thrown at the wagon by something.
Thrown from straight above them, yes.
Well, or like a large
Rocks.
creature throwing rocks, yes.
Possibly.
Because it's not a landslide or anything, right? There's nothing,
You're not close enough to the mountains. By the way, the mountain range to the north, the entire mountain range is called the Husan. The dwarven town you're going to is referred to as Husan First because it's the first of these settlements that was attempted to be built.
So I don't think rocks just randomly fall from the sky.
Can I search for any tracks?
Actually, you remember hearing more than one tale of adventuring parties being destroyed by rocks falling and killing the entire party.
Can I search for any tracks around the wagon?
The wagon was on the same road you were on, heading in the same direction you were heading. When the rocks started falling, that's when it veered off. Their horse is nowhere to be seen.
Okay.
Which is probably a blessing for the horse.
Probably.
And once it went off the road, that's when the end came.
Can we look for tracks?
Yeah, the tracks you saw were the ones that were the wagons. You see no additional
No, nothing
tracks.
else. Alright.
It's been raining all day, and this looks like it happened maybe the day before. So the rain has obliterated what any tracks the horse would have left.
I'm trying to think of what has. The fact that the rocks are coming from straight up, to me it seems like something's dropped them. Like from maybe a flying creature or something.
In your training as a ranger, you can think of a few creatures that would be able to drop rocks. First and foremost in your brain, because you recently fought one, is dragons, but dragons are not alone in their ability to drop rocks. You're also aware that I just said dragon. You're also aware that various types of giantkin and giants like to throw rocks, but they tend to throw them at less of an upward angle. They like to throw them a little more forward.
Yeah, more of a kind of chuck rather than a drop.
Yeah, at this angle, they would have had to throw them straight up, or been the kind of giant that you really don't want to mess with.
That's what I'm concerned about. I think we ought to just move on. I don't think
I
there's
think we
anything else
should
to...
move on for now, but keep our eye out for bad things.
Yeah.
And stuff falling from the sky. While we're going along, can I just keep my eye out to the sky above us?
Okay. It is full of clouds.
I expected.
The cloud is a mimic.
You're the worst.
Sorry. Okay, so other than that...
Hey, it wouldn't shock me. I actually had potion vial mimics in one of my campaigns.
There is a type of mimic that I'll tell you about at some point, but not going to prolong the game by explaining it now. Okay, so other than that horror fest that you've investigated, you don't see anything else out of the ordinary until you get to the front gates of Husan First. There are some structures outside of Husan which they were meant to be temporary, but they were built by dwarves, so of course they're made of stone.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look like they've been lived in for some time. More likely, they were built when Husan was first getting settled. So the dwarves lived outside while they were making room inside the mine itself. And then they went inside the mine once they had enough room in there. These appear to be mostly used for storage based on what you can see. Like some of them are filled with chunks of stone that have been cut to various shapes and sizes. Some of them are locked, so you can't see inside at all.
Mm-hmm.
But some, like, who's going to steal stone? So the ones that have stone in them are left open. There are guard posts on either side of the large gate, which is also conveniently made of stone. The guard posts are not manned or dwarved, as the case may be. And the gate is ajar. It's not open all the way, but it is... if you held your breath, you'd be able to get through.
So, okay, the fact that there's no guards kind of bothers me.
Agreed. Are there any tracks around the gate?
Oh, many tracks.
Any non-dwarf that stick out?
Not that you can see. Most of the dwarf tracks you see are in spots where there's like for the temporary structures they of course have roofs that sort of overhang a little bit, so you can stand outside the door without the rain coming down on top of you. So you'll see tracks there because they haven't been rained on. But even in places where it's been raining, so many dwarves have come and gone. Not everything could be obliterated by the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be small enough to get through the gap in the gate?
Oh, easily.
Okay, I want to stealth my way in there.
Okay, give me a dex check.
Okay.
Well, stealth check too.
Can I follow?
You most certainly can try.
Okay. Plus 4. 13.
The door's a
15.
mimic. No, it's not. So as you are trying to go through the door, you bump it a little bit, and the door just silently opens the rest of the way.
Okay.
It is very well counterbalanced, so with very little effort, it just sort of glides open.
Okay. I want to just try to creep around it.
There's no more creeping around it because it's wide open now, and as but you can't see the sun, so you're not in direct sunlight, but the sun, the light's still coming through the clouds enough that as the light sort of goes in to this main hall area, which is, it's a good 50 feet wide, you see blood smears.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh no.
All right,
Like
I'm going to kind of move off to the side and let Vex, wherever he wants to move.
I want to draw my bow and just get ready because someone jumps on us.
I'm gonna wave back, just kind of wave back for the others to come in.
Okay. Now, the blood smears, a roll is not even necessary for this. There are areas that look like pools of dry blood. Like this happened a day or two ago. And there's streaks coming out of it, like whatever got killed on that spot got pulled away. And they go further in.
Okay.
I just kind of whisper to Punk, just once, I would like to go somewhere where things aren't falling apart. Just once.
Alright, you're gonna start Is there any other doors or anything? Any other like hallways leading anywhere else that we can see? Or
this appears to be the main. Like, if it was a house, it'd be the foyer. But it is. Think of it as the main hall of Ironforge, except instead of a big circle, it's in a straight line. It's 50 foot wide. You can see that there are columns somewhat evenly spaced that are going down this hallway. Some of them look like they're for show. Some of them look like they're actually there for support. The cavern ceiling is rough cut and about 30 feet up. In most places, it looks like they were in the process of making it taller by carving more stuff out of it. Like, they hadn't gone as high as they wanted to yet. And on either side, there are various doorways, some of them wider than others. There's some windows carved into the wall in various places. It looks like a market square. There's shops and stalls. There's a higher level up with a balcony that goes all the way down both sides. And it looks like creating that same thing for a third story was in progress, but it's under construction. There's like, you see the medieval equivalent of yellow and black tape stretched across places. There's orange cones.
Are there any bodies?
Give me a perception check. With advantage because they're humanoids.
18.
You see no bodies.
None at all. Okay.
You ain't got no body.
Right, okay.
But all of the... you see more blood smears. And some of them go deeper into this long hallway. Some of them go into side buildings. Or you want to call them buildings because in a town, these would be separate buildings. But since you're in a cavern, a dwarf-made cavern, but still a cavern, they're all part of the same giant structure.
Okay, I'm going to get out can opener and my shield. And I don't like the idea of all these windows and doorways and stuff to our sides, but we're just going to have to go forward. So I'm just concerned about ambushes.
Yep.
Okay. Do you head deeper in, or do you investigate one of the doorways? Or make the smart move and leave?
Smart move would be to leave, but in what way have we proven that we're smart?
What were we supposed to accomplish here?
We were supposed to get help to...
You were supposed to deliver a letter.
Yeah, we were supposed to deliver a letter and get help to...
Well, technically we can just drop the letter on the ground. Okay, I'll say we delivered it. You didn't
technically we would be delivering the letter, but at the same time, there's a lot of dead people in here. We should probably find out what happened.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a dead person yet.
There's a lot of blood. Would I know that that's enough blood that they're probably dead?
Would he be able to tell what kind of blood it is? Maybe it's Knoll blood.
Ooh, that's a good call. Would I?
Well, normally when you're checking things about humanoids, you get an advantage roll. So for for this, I would say it would be at disadvantage, so it would just be a straight up roll. And I'd count that either as a medicine or nature check.
Okay. 13.
Okay, so you do the whole cop movie routine where you kneel down in front of one of the larger blood smears, and you take your glove off and you dip your pinky in it and you hold it up to your nose. You do not put it in your mouth because you're not stupid.
I'm not a druid.
Take off your sunglasses. So.
No, he has to put the sunglasses on right before the explosion.
Oh, okay.
And then you hear the wow.
And then a song goes, "Who are you?" Exactly. And then I get hit with a copyright strike. But in any case, you're fairly certain that it's not Gnoll blood,
Okay.
but you can't guarantee that you know what species this was. Gnoll blood, and you know from your various fights with Gnolls, has a very corruptive essence to it.
Yeah.
Hyenas that have eaten Gnoll corpses have turned into other Gnolls.
Yeah.
And you're not getting any sense of that from this.
Okay.
Let's
Let's go
If
ahead.
you'd rolled a nat 20, I would have given you the dwarf's genealogy.
also it's dwarfs. Good to know.
Well, you're in the middle of a dwarven settlement. It's really not that hard to
Well,
put
no,
two and two
no.
together.
No.
That could have been who nailed the knolls on the trees.
Right. Let's look at one of the alcoves.
Okay.
Fenix, you've been very quiet. What are you doing?
Just chilling.
Okay. Okay, so you said you were checking one of the doorways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming you're checking one of the ones where blood smear is heading in through it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
As you enter, it smells like burning. There's nothing currently burning, but the walls are coated with ash and soot. Everything that was combustible inside this room has been combusted. And apparently that happened before whatever was bleeding was drugged through here, because the smears continue over the ash to a square of stone floor and vanish.
Fiddle Punch is with us.
No, he didn't really want to hang out with dwarves. He's still hanging out in the blast radius.
Okay.
And there's nobody.
There's no body.
Can I check for maybe a trapdoor in the stonework?
You may certainly can try. Give me a, I guess that would be a perception roll.
Then that's a 16.
Okay. It is fairly obvious that this chunk of floor, this square of floor, has been moved recently. There's scrape marks to the side of it. You don't think it's meant to be opened on this side, but something definitely opened this up and closed it again recently. They at least closed it since the fire happened.
Hey, Punk.
Yeah.
Do you want to help me and try and brute force this open?
Sure. I'll take one side and you take the other.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
That would definitely be a strength check, and because this was not designed to be opened from this side, I'm going to say roll at disadvantage for both of you.
Okay. Let's see. It's 3.
6.
16.
Okay, so Ponk, you are able to actually get this stone chunk of floor up about half an inch. But only half an inch, because it's large enough that you'd really need to have someone on the other side doing the same amount of lifting, and
Right.
Vex is just not helping at all.
Right.
He's like that person when you're moving that's totally telling you that they're lifting their side of the couch, but they're not lifting their side of the couch.
Yeah.
Come on, Punk, put your back into it.
Can I make another roll to try
Jesus Christ.
going even try to lift it further? Or?
There's a Dragonborn in
Fenix,
the
why
doorway
don't you try
watching
this,
you.
please?
Just
Okay,
watching.
sure.
I'm the agile guy. I'm not the lifty type.
You're the strength
Mm.
of 12 guy. And
I'm
you were
just-
letting the Dragonborn with the strength of 18 just stand back and watch.
Yep.
The
I'm gonna,
destroyer
like-
of carts.
So I'm like holding it, being like, Fenix, help me.
Okay. So, Fenix, we're gonna need a strength check from you.
All right. So I'm just gonna snap my fingers.
I got a 19 this time.
Wait. Oh, strength check.
Yeah. So just add your
Oh.
strength bonus.
Oh, this is bad. I got 24.
That's not bad.
Please
No.
don't drop it.
Oh.
I said it's
I
bad
thought you
'cause
rolled a
have
1 when you
fingers.
said it was bad. What was that? I talked
No,
over you.
I got a 24.
Oh, I got a
Okay.
19 this time.
So we go from Ponk doing all the work and probably getting more disgruntled by that, but how would you tell?
Exactly.
Accurate.
Vex backs up. His side goes back down a bit. His side only went up because of Ponk's work. Fenix comes over, spits in both palms. In his mind, he pictures that chunk of stone to be a cart. Puts his fingers around the edge that he can that's up enough that he can get a grip on, and just sort of puts his whole back into it. And Ponk, I'm going to need a dex save from you.
Oh boy. Let's see.
It's advantage though, right? Because you have danger sense.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because you're going to get knocked out by Dragonborn.
18.
That is more than sufficient. You manage to pull your head away before this chunk of stone comes straight up. If you had not jerked your head back, it would have hit you in the chin. You probably would have bit your tongue off.
Oh.
I don't talk
Well,
much anyway, so.
It arcs up a little bit as Fenix lifts it up, so it hits the ceiling and lands behind Fenix, and breaks into several pieces.
Whoops! Did I do that?
You now have a hole in the ground that is big enough that if you think Fenix might fit, he might have to shove him a bit from the other end. But the rest of you could easily go in.
Why don't you stay here, Winnie the Pooh? We'll go in. So.
Okay. Let's stealthily go in.
Yeah.
Okay, well then give me some stealth checks.
Okay.
I realize I've not actually been rolling for Shepherd for stealth checks, so I should probably start doing that.
Wait, do I roll too?
Go ahead. Are you going to try to go into the tunnel also?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a 25 for me and 24 for Shepherd.
I got a
You move like
24.
shadows.
I got a
I get-
24 with a natural 20. So.
I get
Okay.
18.
Fenix, I'm also going to need a dex save from you.
Hallelujah. $19.
Okay, so you are able to avoid getting stuck. It is a square hole, so you're able to angle yourself so that you can go in sort of at a diagonal to get through instead of stupidly trying to go in horizontally or vertically. But you got this. You're smart. And you move like shadows. Ponk is a shadow. Matter of fact, Vex, you don't quite know where Ponk is.
Okay.
This tunnel appears to be very roughly cut. You don't need to roll to know that it is fairly new. Ponk in particular, as a deep gnome, knows what a fresh tunnel looks like, and this is very fresh.
Yeah.
There is also an odor in here.
Tell
Ponk
me it's not
and
double.
Vex, give me a nature check.
Okay.
I don't need that. I'm a Dragonborn.
You also would not recognize this odor.
14.
Actually, no. Give me a Fenix. Give me a nature check also. And you said 14, Vex.
14.
Okay.
5.
17.
Okay, so Punk is wondering which one of you farted.
I'm gonna guess it's Fenix. So.
I was gonna say he thinks it's kind of it smells like a Fenix. Fenix also thinks it smells like a Fenix, but not quite. There's something off. You remember odors like this when you were a kid and when you've been playing with Dragonborn kids in your hometown. But it's not quite right. There's something wrong here. So you're not quite sure what's up. But that odor is kind of strong in here. There are also blood smears all along the bottom of this cavern and bits of things that you don't really want to roll an ID check for, stuck on various rock outcroppings, because this is a very rough cut tunnel.
Okay.
So I'm thinking whoever killed these people or caused this came in this way.
Not necessarily. I'm thinking maybe possibly someone who survived just came down here.
Wounded,
But didn't the rock move the other way? I mean, we kind of yanked it out, but I thought it was described as it would be easier to move from the other side of it. Or am I not understanding?
No,
right?
I think that was how it was described, but
Okay.
there might have been a way to open it from that side and we just didn't know it.
Okay.
It's always a possibility.
Maybe they had a Dragonborn with them too.
The
Maybe
people
they
with
had
the
a
brains
Dragonborn.
didn't try.
Dragonborn versus
Are
Dragonborn.
there any bodies that I can see?
Nope. Just a
How-
blood smear heading off into the darkness.
How dark is it down here?
There are no light sources of any kind.
Okay, so these guys who has dark vision?
I have dark vision.
Logan, do you have dark vision?
No, I don't think he does.
Right, so Logan can see 5 foot, we can see 20.
And Shepard also does not have dark vision.
Shepard does not. I don't.
He can
No, he
see
doesn't.
in low light because he's a wolf. And wolves can see in low light, but they don't have extra special vision in the dark.
No, they don't. They have really good perception with hearing and smelling, though.
You do remember that your magical scimitars, which, if I remember correctly, both Punk
Light up.
and
Mm-hmm.
Vex are the two that got the magical scimitars. They do light up and illuminate the area for about 15 feet. It's not a really bright light, but it's better than walking through the dark if you don't have dark
So
vision.
that would actually give me and him 60 foot dark vision, then, wouldn't it? Because that's low
Yeah.
light.
I'll allow it, yeah. It's not
Yeah.
bright enough to ruin your dark vision. So long
Right,
as you don't
that-
hold it right
yeah.
up to your face.
I draw my sword in my main hand, my dagger in my offhand, and put the bow away.
Okay. And
I probably just have the can opener.
Okay, so you've got light for about 15 feet, so that you do not have a wolf and a dragonborn tripping over themselves. Now, this tunnel is not quite 6 feet tall, so Punk, you're doing fine. In some places, it might go down to 4 feet, so you have to duck every now and then. But Vex and Fenix are kind of feeling it. You start to get shoulder cramps after a while from crouching down as you go through this tunnel. This was not built for people your size.
Not surprised. It's Dwarven City.
Okay, and as you go down this tunnel, it joins up with other tunnels, and you're not too afraid of losing your way because the smears sort of all turn in the same direction. They're all going down a larger
Yeah.
tunnel.
That's what I was thinking. That's essentially our breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Follow the breadcrumb, boys.
Yeah. Just keep following the blood.
Am I seeing any traps or anything as we're going along?
Oh, you're looking for traps?
I'd like to be, yes.
Okay, then that would be a perception check.
That is a 16.
Um,
Diablo dice are doing me well tonight.
Okay, so you find a dagger of dwarf manufacture that has sort of been propped up in the uneven ground, so the blade is pointing straight up. And next to it, sort of scrawled, like, you know how if you take one rock, you can sort of write on another rock with it, kind of, by scratching? It is written in Draconic, the equivalent of LOL.
What?
So somebody laid a trap and thought it was.
It's kind of down in a crevice a bit. If you hadn't been looking for it, you or someone else in the party might have stepped on it.
Why is it Draconic saying LOL?
Yeah. Was it set there by somebody who was Dragonborn? Yeah.
I'm so glad I understand Draconic, because that just filled me with so much joy.
Is that smell getting any stronger?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it was. Now that you're in this larger tunnel, the smell that you encountered when you came down through the trapdoor seems weak in comparison, but when you first smelled it, you didn't think it was weak.
Okay.
Like, if the difference between being outside of and inside of a porta potty.
God.
Oh. Sweet Paler. Okay.
Yeah.
Only it's a different odor.
Okay. I inform them of the dagger and pull it out so no one stands in it, and we continue.
Yep. Let's keep moving forward.
Okay. You hear something up ahead. Almost as if someone or something ahead of you did a crit fail on a stealth check.
Damn.
Cracks his neck.
And you also hear a slap, like someone next to that other someone got upset that the person got a crit fail. Just like the DM is upset that he rolled a 1 just now.
I'm not upset he rolled a 1 just now.
Alright, I got the get my shield out.
I think it's time to roll for initiative.
Okay.
Okay. Get advantage on that. So. Yeah. Oh wow! Those were terrible. Wow.
Okay, so Fenix, what's yours?
That's better. There we go.
Oh, I don't have any pluses. It's just 17.
14.
Next up is Punk. 14.
16.
Okay, so Fenix, it's your turn. You don't know what's ahead of you. Whatever made those sounds is too far away for you to see by the light of this illuminated sword. But you know there's at least 2 things ahead of you in the darkness.
I want to go up to the 2 things because I don't know if they're bad or good.
You want to do what?
I want to go to those 2 mysteries.
Okay, so you got a move of 30?
Yeah, I can move 30.
Okay, but here's the thing. That sword only illuminates for 15 feet. So 15 feet, you'll be walking in pitch darkness.
Fine, 15 feet.
Okay, so you walk to the edge of the torch of the sword light, and you can't see anything from here. So you have an action. Do you wish to take an action? You can hold your action if you wish.
What did you say?
You can hold your action. You don't have. You won initiative. You have the highest initiative, but you can hold your initiative for now if you want to,
I'll hold
and
my
then
initiative.
go later on in this turn.
Yeah, I'll hold my initiative.
Okay. By the way, in my insane amount of listening to and watching podcasts of other people playing Dungeons and Dragons, I did see someone who works for Wizards of the Coast say that anyone can talk at any point during a conflict. You don't have to wait for your turn. So,
Okay.
if someone who makes the rules says it's okay, I'm going to allow it. We're just going to go with that. Vex, it's your turn.
Can I see them?
They, from where the sound came from, like, what's your dark vision? 60 feet?
60 feet.
Yeah, they sound like they're just beyond your range. If you used your movement, you'd be able to see them.
I'll move a little further along to see them.
Okay, do you move up to where Fenix is?
Yeah.
Okay, so you move up alongside Fenix, and you see some small, almost lizard-like humanoids. They have long, scaly tails. Since you're using your dark vision doesn't include color, so you don't know what color they are, but they do seem to be scaly and lizard-like and armed.
Okay. Can I shout at them in Draconic, saying, "We mean you no harm, we're just trying to find out what happened here"?
You can, and I guess you do.
Because they know we're here, we know they're there, so...
Okay. Do you do anything else?
Can I put the rapier in the ground so that
You
the
mean
blade
the
is... The scimitar, sorry, into the ground so that the blade is still out and lit?
So you want it sticking upright, where you like point down into the ground?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the
Would that
ground
be a
isn't even
bonus,
enough
or would
that
it feel full action?
it when you put that in, it sort of leans to the side a little bit, but it mostly stays upright. And I would count that as an action.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. And for simplicity, we've been having Shepard go on your initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want Shepard to do anything else?
You can only hold an action, can't you? You can't hold movement.
No, you can hold your entire initiative.
Oh, then I want Shepard to wait until they do something.
Okay. When you turn around to direct Shepard, he's standing right behind you with his tail wagging. He followed you as you moved up to Fenix.
I see.
Okay. Ponk, it's your turn.
I want to look behind us, make sure I don't see anybody coming up behind us from the tunnel.
Clever gnome. Give me a perception check.
Four.
You do not see anything behind you.
Okay. I am probably going to stay right where I am for the moment.
Okay, so to paint this picture, you have some lizard-like creatures that are about, I would say, 55 feet ahead of you. So 2 movements away from Fenix and Vex. And Ponk is about 15 feet back from them. I have that right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's their turn. And one of them waves its hands in the air.
Like it just don't care.
Like it's a Dragon Ball Z character.
Okay.
And beams of light shoot from its hands. Ponk, does an 11 hit you?
No.
That is an obvious miss. And that is a crit fail. So these 3 beams shoot out, obviously towards you. but they don't. They go past you. And the one that tries to hit Fenix goes between his legs. Instead of hitting him, like at knee level, it goes between his legs. And you hear a scream about 60 feet behind you. And there is now a burning creature waving its arms frantically. And then it falls over.
Okay.
It's time to put these things out of their misery.
And while this creature that shot these beams at you is hanging back, the rest of them are moving forward. They use their move, but they do not double move. And one of them... Let me look this up real quick. One of them pulls a contraption from over its shoulder. It looks like a comically large mace. There is a central handle that it has to hold with both arms wrapped around it. Not in a way that it'd be able to swing this very well to hit you. The end that would be normally made out of metal seems to be some type of wicker cage or basket. And there's a sound.
You see anything come out of it?
Yeah, the wicker basket flies towards you.
Okay.
But it does not hit any of you.
Okay.
It smashes to the ground about 10 feet away from you, and a very angry skunk flies out.
Yeah, I know he was deploying something. So.
Yes. And it looks a little stunned, but I have added it to the initiative table.
Can Shepard take his turn now?
So
You were holding action, so sure.
Can Shepard run up and bite that skunk?
He can certainly try. Give me an attack roll for Shepard.
That's a 17 to hit.
Okay, so this skunk had a hit point of 1. So Shepard goes to do his takedown attack because Shepard's used to doing takedown attacks. And the skunk becomes sort of a blur, and you hear a splat sound on the far cavern wall.
Level 1 critter.
Yeah.
It's a good little puppy.
There's a bit of an odor coming from that wall now. It's stronger than the other creatures.
It's not in front of us.
By the way, Ponk, at this point, you definitely recognize these creatures as a deep gnome. You have run into them before on many occasions because they consider gnomes to be their mortal enemies.
Oh, good.
They are kobolds.
Ah.
You know, take candle.
They do not have candles with them.
All right.
They have a skunk, apparently. Well, had. Past tense. Had.
If Shepard hadn't got to it, I was going to golf swing with the wrench at it and just try to drive the skunk back at him. So
I rolled a 19 for its initiative.
So it's a good thing I held that action then.
Yeah.
Its move, it would have sprayed you.
You're welcome.
I have to do some math quick. Hold on.
And I think Fenix held his action too, so he can still go.
There's not much he can do though, that's the problem. He's so far away. He could dash, I suppose. But he'd be blind the rest of it.
Fire. No, you wouldn't reach him.
No, it's only a 15-foot cone.
It'd scare the hell out of him though. If he did it like in an
that
intimidating way or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was their turn. And now we are moving in to everyone who held their action. So that would be... Ponk, did you hold your action? I forget.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Fenix can both go. What do you choose to do?
You want to go first, Fenix?
Sure.
Okay, now none of them are within range, but you can use your movement for them to be within range.
Where's my bird?
He is hanging out on your shoulder, but you know from experience, if you use your full movement, he's going to fly off of your shoulder because he doesn't like fast rides like that.
Can't he see in the dark?
Well, there is a scimitar lighting its way. It probably wouldn't fly out of that light range. Some birds can see at night, but eagles and hawks and most raptors cannot. Their vision is fine-tuned for distance, but it is lousy for night vision.
Why the heck do I not have an owl?
Because
you wanted an eagle.
Okay, I'll dash.
You don't need to dash. You can get to them in one movement. They were 2 movements away, but they used their movement to get closer to you.
I'll move up to them.
Okay. There are 3 kobolds in front of you. 2 of them appear to be armed with daggers. The third one is holding something it's some type of box, but you don't know what it is. The third one was the one that fired the skunk at you, but he's not holding that particular contraption anymore. He dropped it after he used it.
So there's 3 of them?
There are 3 of them in front of you. There is a 4th one that did not use their movement at all, so they're 1 movement away from you hanging out in the back.
I'll kill the one with the box.
Okay, well then roll to hit.
18.
An 18 hits. Give me some damage.
16 damage.
16 damage kills it. And it drops the box.
Am I gonna get one of those other demons?
The box breaks open. And it apparently was containing a wasp nest. So the wasps fly out, and they are apparently not happy.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to get some cream for that.
And they have been added to the initiative table. But there's another goblin down. Well, not goblin, kobold down. So, Ponk, it's your turn.
I'm going after the Wicker Man.
No, you can't. He's down. He's been sliced in twain.
I thought the one with the box was a different one.
Nope, the one with the box was the one that fired the skunk, and then he pulled out another box after he fired the skunk.
Okay, then one of the other 2 with an angry gnomish battle cry. 16 to hit.
That is a hit.
Alrighty. And I am using the can opener, so... Oh god, 16?
Okay, so you are definitely going to obliterate this kobold, but rather than me say how you do it, how do you intend to do this?
I'd like to basically do like a like I was talking about, like a golf swing. I'm just gonna just come up with it, and I just basically want to just hit it under its chin. And if it decapitates it, great. Otherwise, I'd like to just maybe just decapitate it, but from smashing it from the chin up.
Okay.
Why?
So that's what you attempt. Kobolds are small and wiry. They break easily, but not that easily. So you aren't able to take its head clean off with this swing. But when your wrench it basically, because you're in a fairly low cavern, Fenix and Vex both have to be crouching a little bit to walk in here without banging their heads on the ceiling constantly. So you're able to sandwich its skull between your can opener and the cavern ceiling and crush its skull.
Nice.
And it flops back down.
Dead. Awesome.
There are two left in front of you. One is a movement away. The other one is directly in front of you and quickly thinking that it's made some poor life choices.
I want to shout to Fenix and think that now might be a good time to use the breath with the wasps.
But he's already used his action.
Yeah.
I know.
However, that's the end of the turn.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, so now
In
we
advance.
have the beginning of next turn, and Fenix, the skunk would have gone first, but the skunk is currently a red smear and a lump that's slowly dripping down the wall. Thanks to a very over-enthusiastic puppy. Fenix, it is your turn.
Okay. I'm going to use Dragon Breath and turn these wasp into mulch.
Okay, so are you're just gonna aim the dragon breath at the largest collection of wasps you can see?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you inhale and exhale. And exhale. And exhale. Give me some damage.
What was the damage again?
It would be on your character sheet for your breath weapon.
I get rolled 8. I got 8 damage.
Okay, so a whole bunch of wasps sort of fizzle and burn away like fireflies in the darkness. There's still a few that are buzzing around, but not nearly as many. You got the main chunk of it. However, in your effort to get the wasps, you totally missed the kobold that was directly in front of you. You have not managed to hit that. And it's Vex's turn.
Right, okay. The farthest one away. I aim my bow at it. Take a shot.
Okay, give me a roll.
That's a 18 to hit.
That's a hit.
That's cocked. That's 5 plus 3. That's 7 point. Nope. That's 8 points of piercing damage.
Noted.
And which one's closest to Shepherd?
That would be the one in front of you questioning its life choices.
Shepherd's gonna go and reaffirm its life choices and that they were bad.
Give me a roll.
Oh, that's a lot to hit. That's that's a 22 to hit.
Give me some damage.
Shepherd did more than me. That's a 4 plus a 6. 4 plus 2 is 6. Plus a 5 is 11 points of piercing. And I has to make a strength saving DC 11.
It does not need to make a strength saving throw.
It died.
This is Shepherd's new true toy. It very quickly loses most of its limbs in the process. He's just shaking it around by its torso. You may, if you wish, add Kobold Torso to your inventory at this point.
I will not.
Shepherd wishes to add Kobold Torso to his inventory.
Shepherd is not adding that to his inventory.
Achievement unlocked.
Shepherd will look at you with puppy dog eyes, because how else can he look at you?
I have been raised with a sister. I don't need to worry about that.
Okay, Panq, it is your turn. There are no kobolds that you can hit where you're standing.
You said there's like one run away though?
If you use your movement, you'll be able to get to the one that casts that spell at you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I want to get to him. So I will charge at him.
Okay, then you do so. And now you are directly in front of it. It looks to be getting ready to cast another spell.
And I can still attack then, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Swing at this little sucker with can opener. 12.
You're pretty sure that you're hitting it, but your can opener bounces off of its scaly hide. Okay, and it is now the wasp's turn. Ponk, you're the smart one. Because
That's never been said.
you ran away. Technically, you didn't retreat from the wasps. You ran towards a battle, which happened to be away from the previous battle. However, there are 3 beings that did not run away from the remaining wasps.
No, we didn't.
So all 3 of you take Fenix is going to take 3 points of damage. Vex is going to take 2. Shepherd takes 1.
Okay, this is bullcrap.
Right on the nose.
How come I take the most damage? Oh yeah,
Because
they're
I rolled
all
a d4.
surrounding me.
I rolled d4 3 times. And next up is the kobold's turns. The kobold sorcerer finishes casting his spell, and he bolts into the darkness.
Coward.
Son of a...
After he finishes casting the spell, he runs away so fast that he's out of eyesight. Your dark vision doesn't see where he is anymore.
I'll shout, "Come on out, you coward."
That is an accurate description of kobolds in general. Okay, now for the rest of them. 4 kobolds attack you from behind. And I was forgetting to do something because kobolds have something called pack tactics. If they have an ally within 5 feet of their target, they get advantage on their attack roll.
Yep, Shepherd has the same thing.
So that is 4 hits. They didn't seem to really want to go after Fenix. Apparently, a large draconic-like creature that can breathe fire is not their first choice for a target. But 2 of them went after Vex, and 2 of them went after Shepherd.
Oh, son of a...
Good luck.
Vex takes 9 damage from 2
Okay.
dagger stabs.
Okay.
Shepherd takes 8.
Aw.
And there is now a kobold that is riding backwards on top of Shepherd. And that is the end of the turn. Fenix, it is your turn. You now have 4 things you can target.
Well, I'm gonna attack the ones that are near Shepherd.
You're going to attack the one that's riding Shepherd.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Get them off my damn dog.
Will do. We're gonna Negan this thing. Oh my god. 24.
That is a hit. What's your bonus to damage?
8.
Okay, don't roll for damage.
It's dead.
Yeah, I just...
It's over, dead.
So I'm going to say that you swing your longsword in a horizontal strike, and you sort of like cut the kobold in half. So half of it's still riding. It was laying flat on its stomach and holding on. but now the back of its head and a significant portion of its torso have slid off.
That's messed up.
And the rest of it just falls to the side.
I slowly peek inside.
Vex, it's your turn.
How far ahead is the other one that attacked Shepard?
He's right there.
Okay.
Like he's still got a draconic smile on his face and holding the dagger forward. He hasn't realized the mistake he's made yet.
Shepard's gonna turn around and bite his fucking face off. And I'm guessing Logan is right next to him, so that's advantage for Shepard.
You're all pretty much right next to each other because when you went forward, you were standing next to Fenix when this all went down. So yes.
Okay, that's a 22 to hit.
That's a hit.
That is 7 plus 5. Maths. 12
It
points
has
of
5 hit
damage. Okay, it's dead. It's very much dead.
Yeah. Chew toy number 2 acquired.
As a good puppy. I'm going to just drop my longbow, grab the sword out of the ground, and kind of, in an arc movement, swing at the one that just hit me with the sword.
There are 2 that just hit you, but sure, you can aim for one of them.
Okay.
And it is a humanoid.
Oh, yay. I keep forgetting to add the humanoid stuff on. So that is 16 to hit.
That is a very palpable hit.
Okay. So thank God for the plus humanoid, because that would have only been a 5. So that's 7
It's got
points.
5 hit points.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. These
Keep
are
forgetting that
kobolds.
they've only got 5 hit points.
Yeah,
And-
they use swarm tactics. That's their cool thing.
Can I use my dagger as an offhand from the other one?
Sure, but you don't get advantage.
I don't
And-
have it. I don't get advantage on anything anyway.
Yeah, and no bonuses.
Well, yes, an offhand I don't get bonuses.
Yeah.
That's a natural one, so that doesn't do much.
Okay, so you do this epic move where you just take the scimitar and slice this thing in half at the waistline. And it sort of looks down and blinks. And then sort of slides
Rarely.
off of its torso. And the legs are still standing up for a little bit longer. They'll fall down next turn. And then you grab your dagger and you try to get to the other one, but you're a little off balance from this epic move you just did. So the dagger just flies off. And give me another d20 roll. And add your deck. Give me a dex save, basically.
A dex saving throw, okay. I'm good at those. 20. Not natural, but 20.
Okay, so you narrowly miss hitting Fenix with this dagger swing.
Sorry, buddy.
You don't hit him.
I help your dog, and this is what you're paying for?
It missed.
And to be fair, you were aiming for a kobold, so if you had hit Fenix, it would have been a leg injury. It wouldn't have been anything fatal. Of course, it's a dagger. It wouldn't have been fatal anyway. Okay, Ponk, it's your turn. You are a move away from the last remaining goblin. But goblin. I keep saying goblin. The last remaining kobold that you can see.
I am going to rage and charge.
I was wondering when you were going to.
Yep. You rage and charge at it and just try to obliterate it with the can opener.
Okay, what's your bonus to damage?
What does it do here? It's age. Damage plus 2.
Okay, so it's not a guaranteed kill when you hit it.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Okay, so describe to me how you're doing this swing.
Probably just like right at its like chest. So.
Okay, center of mass type thing.
Yeah. And Oh god, 22.
That is a hit.
Yeah,
But that was not a
damage.
natural 20?
No.
Okay. So roll me some damage.
9.
Its chest caves in around your can opener.
Damn.
You go to pull it back away, and the chest sort of comes with it. So it's just sort of like hanging on the end.
Nice. I was trying to like rip it out. So,
You do so, and there's a very sickening squelching sound.
I love it.
Okay.
Pick up my longbow again. Pick it around.
That's not your turn.
Oh, we're still in combat, aren't we? There's still the bees.
Not the bees. It's not the bees, it's the wasps.
The wasps, yeah. I forgot about the wasps. Thought we were done.
And the wasps just rolled a nat 20.
Son, you kill my dog, I swear to God.
Ponk takes 7 points of damage.
So half is 3. Because I'm raging.
That would be 3.
So,
Yep.
Alright.
Fenix takes 2 points of damage.
Yay.
And Vex takes 1 point of damage. Right behind the ear.
Oh. That's the worst place. Especially
That's
for
the
me.
worst place. Your dog got
Especially-
stung on the nose.
Oh. Both of
Hey,
us got like the worst places for what we are.
It makes him look cool.
He got it right on the nose. He's a dog. I got it right in the ear. I'm an elf. It's the worst places for both of us.
There's worse places.
Okay.
We don't talk
so
about those in PG-13.
You hear. You don't need a perception check. You hear a rumbling noise.
Oh boy.
Oh,
getting-
yes.
It's
Oh,
getting
no.
louder. It sounds like water.
Oh no.
No, that's not good.
Oh no, we're in a sewer, aren't we?
Yeah.
There is nothing that you've seen in here to make you think sewer.
It's a flood.
It's underneath the town above, but sewers have certain accoutrements with them that you do not see in here.
Is this like a storm drain or something? Or
You don't. Well, this looks very freshly cut,
yeah, so.
and not fresh in regards to dwarves, where 15 years was yesterday. It's fresh as in,
Yesterday.
yeah. This was very, very recent. Not yesterday, because it takes longer than a day to carve out as much as has been carved here. But kobolds can dig pretty fast. And that's the end of the turn. I'm assuming you are all going to use your movement this turn.
Probably no. No, there's probably rushing water coming.
The good news is this might take care of the wasps.
Yeah.
Okay, which way do you head?
Can we tell where it's coming from?
It's coming from the way that one kobold sorcerer ran.
Okay.
So our only other option is go out the way we came in, right?
Is there any
There-
other
there are-
passageways?
There are a lot of side passageways. The blood smears that you've seen on the ground are coming out of the side passageways and joining up in this main tunnel.
Follow one of the side ones.
But we could get lost.
Yep. That's
or
where
it
the
might be a
fun
faster
is.
way out.
That's where the fun is.
You're right. I follow Vex's lead. Where
Okay.
the ranger is usually right when it comes to movement.
All three of you give me a perception check. Ponk, I'm going to say yours is with advantage because of
Okay.
your history as a deep gnome.
21.
Sorry. 13.
Oh my god.
That was really high or really low?
So what happens if we get it low?
Fortunately, Vex rolled high.
Them elfies.
The side passage you picked has actually more than one trapdoor that leads up, and the first one you come to is no more than 10 feet down the side passage.
I start booking it there and shouting at everyone to follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Initiative is... We're not worrying about initiative anymore. The wasps are probably going to drown very soon.
Probably.
And this tunnel, because these tunnels are so low, Fenix is can very easily just stand underneath this trapdoor. It's designed like the previous one, and just stand up all the way. And now he has a wonderful stone hat.
I like this.
You're very handy. Now, please get out of the thing before we drown.
Yay!
The rumbling, as you're arguing with Fenix to get out of the way, the rumbling sort of dies down a bit, and you are now in ankle-deep water.
Oh no. Wait, what? Just ankle deep?
That slowly starts to get shallower and shallower as the water continues to spread through the tunnel system.
Wait, that's it?
This is a very extensive tunnel system.
Yeah. But it's just been cut, so it's interesting.
What? We are not smart people.
That's one way of putting it.
Can I check if the wasps are still there?
There are still wasps, but since you booked it, the wasps didn't really follow you. So, unless you go over and start trying to smack them, you're probably okay.
I want to follow that other kobold.
Okay.
The one that just made us all defecate ourselves.
Well, the bad news is this sudden flood, a flush, if you will. Well, the water seemed... Well, no, the water did not seem clean because it was rushing all the detritus that was in this tunnel, down the tunnel.
Oh,
But
lovely.
it did a fairly decent job of wiping away a significant portion of the blood smears.
Great.
Yeah. So that is a side effect.
If I roll a really high survival check, is there a chance I can still see remnants of it and follow?
Go ahead, give me a roll.
Good, because survival's an advantage. 22. 18
Okay.
plus 4.
So the bad news is most of the blood is gone. The good news is it's very easy to tell which way the current of the water was going. So you can track the water is sort of like now the floor is just wet at this point. There's areas where it's pooled, but because of the way it was flowing, you can tell which way it was pushing things. So you can track the water.
Okay. Do that.
You don't remember ever having to track water before? This is a first on your bucket list, I think?
It is actually, yeah.
Okay.
I've done animals, I've done people, never done water.
Okay, so you are able to track the water to what appears to have been a very large, possibly feeding water to the entire settlement, cistern. That the kobolds also mined underneath, and apparently they had rigged it so that one of them could knock something over and let all the water out.
That's probably what the guy who disappeared did.
Yep. I mean, it was effective.
Yeah, man, if I'd only been able to really hit him that turn. Oh well.
It was effective. It got us moving.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are at a very interesting point right here. We've been recording for about 2 hours. I would say this is a good time to end the adventure, but I know for a fact that you, Chris, will not
Yes.
be here next week because you're going to some little gathering somewhere out west. So
Just over in
little,
Anaheim.
some little niche game is
Yeah,
doing
it's-
a news
they're
release.
not really that big. They're a small little company, but we like to support them.
Yeah.
The War
Some-
on
some-
Worldcraft or something like
Something
that.
about Warcraft and
Yeah.
It's a craft
Star-
expo.
Gate thing.
So
I don't know.
there'll be some knitting, some
Yep.
crochet. There'll be a lot of pipe cleaners.
I think the company is something about blizzards, so I think there'll be snow around. I don't
A
know.
lot of glitter. Probably a lot of glitter.
Probably a lot of.
Yes. Possibly
I'm
even
gonna buzz
sparkle
gun.
ponies.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna buzz gun. I'm excited.
Okay. And we're all very happy for you.
Yay.
Except those of us who are jealous.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I don't like large conventions. So I don't like, and this was very evident for me last week. I do not like NPCing players, which is also why I had Ari and Obaim NPCing at the inn.
It'll be hard to NPC me.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to NPC anyone. It's hard to NPC a cleric. It would be hard to NPC a wizard, which I tried last week. I don't want to NPC anyone. But here you are in this kobold tunnel, and it's the end of the adventure for the week. So, how do we do this?
He gets magically teleported somewhere.
Y'all can do a one shot next week if you want.
The adventure ends because Vex magically appears back home with his sister.
In Anaheim.
Yeah.
You can either NPC me, or you can do a one shot, or you can do I don't know.
I don't want to NPC him. What if Shepard dies?
Oh, I will never forgive any of
Exactly.
I will never forgive any of you.
Vex,
Here's the thing, if Shepard dies, it's not a big deal because
um,
I can bring him back after 8 hours.
something happened, and you're not going to be happy. But
Oh, I didn't tell you. I'm doing Tomb of Annihilation, so the death curse is in effect. You can't bring him back.
But it's Ranger revised.
If you
The death curse from Tomb of Annihilation, anything that dies, its soul gets trapped in the soulmonger. You
I don't
can't raise it.
care.
And anything that has been brought back acquires a death curse, and they slowly have their max hit points drained until they die again. And can't be rezzed.
Don't do this to me, because
I'm not actually doing that. That'd be
Okay.
so cruel.
I would not play a ranger in Tomb of Annihilation, because if my pet dies, then essentially my entire class is pointless because my pet is like built into my class.
And if you die, we just strap your corpse to Shepard, and you play Shepard for the rest of the adventure.
Wow.
do our health points like regen after next?
No, it's a long race. It's a
Yeah,
long
you-
race.
Or you heal yourself. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I guess, because we've been workshopping this for about 4 minutes now, is we're going to put a pin in this. We'll come back next week with something, with a slightly different cast of characters, and we'll work it out sometime between now and then.
okay,
Do a Tal'Dorei one shot. They're really fun.
we could have one shot with different characters.
We could one shot with different characters. There's plenty going on in this campaign setting that we could very easily do a one shot somewhere.
Yeah.
And give you plot points that your main characters don't know, which would drive you nuts.
Oh no! Don't do that! Don't do that!
So
We could
you still don't know that ancient green dragon's name.
No, I don't. We don't. And that's still
Jackdaw.
annoying me.
Imagine if you had another
So
character
annoying.
get their name, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that explains so much," and I don't know that. I can't know that.
It's actually annoying me to the point where I'm going to murder someone if we don't find out that dragon's name at some point.
You will. You will.
I have no doubt, but it's not fun not knowing.
So I will give you just a teeny little spoiler that's going to annoy you more,
Okay.
without telling you the dragon's name. The dragon
Okay.
is from Faerun.
Yeah, that's what I
We
figured.
figured as much.
Yeah.
Well, there are dragons in other worlds too.
Yeah.
Because Greyhawk is another world, and they've got dragons, etc., etc.
Ancient Green.
And your character specifically has heard the name before. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
Oh, I know who it is. Crash, are you?
But at the same time, you were so certain that you were going to be fighting a beholder. So don't be so sure that you know, because I have misdirected you before.
Crash, are you?
Am I what?
I don't want to say it with these guys here in case I'm right.
Am I a horrible person?
No,
Send me a private message, and I'll tell you if you're right.
I wouldn't know the name anyway. So
You,
I spelled it wrong, but you know what I mean.
now Matt probably would.
you are
know.
wrong.
Oh, okay. Because I can only think of 3 names my character would know from Faerun backstory-wise.
Well, you as a player,
Oh,
I'm not going to say whether you as a player know the name, but
okay.
but
the
Vex as a
Vex will know
character.
him.
Vex as a character would recognize this name.
Okay.
And now for the next 2 weeks rather, Akari is going to be looking up all the known green dragons from Faerun. There's
I already
wikis.
know a couple of them. I already know a couple of them off my
Was,
top
Cr-
of my head.
was Crash right? Was Akari right?
No, he was wrong. He guessed wrong.
Oh.
He chose
I-
poorly.
I assumed it was something from my backstory, but it's not, apparently.
I can't tell you more without giving it away entirely. I like how much
No,
information I've
it's
given
fine.
you.
That's fine. I'm on edge. I want to know, but it's fine.
I'm also. I really, really wish that that Fenix had made that one perception check.
Oh, the one that I rolled a 1 on?
Yes.
Yes.
You would have seen something in that inn. And I
And
won't
I
say
won't
if it
say-
was out the window or not, but you in particular would have noticed something.
I hate you.
You're the one that rolled poorly.
I
it
rolled
would've-
a 1. That's my 10th 1 in 2 sessions.
It wouldn't have killed you. It wouldn't have done any damage to you or harmed you in any way. But you would have noticed something that would have been a plot point later. It still will be a plot point later, but you won't see it coming.
But we just wouldn't know it coming, yeah.
Okay, on that note, I think it's time to go to bed.
I
thank you all
agree.
for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you
And-
for having us, Crash.
And let's do this again sometime.
Alrighty.
I'll
Okay.
see you all in 2 weeks.
Alright, have fun, man.
I will.
I will post in Discord if I decide that we're doing a one-shot and what I expect of a character.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Have a good time, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.